This is Top Accolade Global News Update. I am Abiodun Mohammed. Israeli police entered Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque before dawn on Wednesday and clashed with worshippers, setting off a furious reaction from Palestinians across the occupied West Bank and cross-border strikes in Gaza. The incident during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan and on the eve of the Jewish Passover came amid fears that tensions built up during the year of escalating violence could be unleashed at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, where clashes in 2021 set off a 10-day war with Gaza. At least 9 rockets were fired from Gaza overnight, prompting airstrikes from Israel, which struck what it said were Hamas weapon production sites, setting off ground-shaking explosions heard across the blockaded coastal strip. Witnesses said Israeli tanks also shelled Hamas positions along the border fence in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. As they broke, the situation appeared to have calmed, but the Palestinian Red Crescent said 12 Palestinians had sustained wounds, including from rubber-tipped bullets and beatings in clashes with Israeli police. It added that Israeli forces were preventing its medics from reaching the area. In quote, in the yard to the eastern part of the compound, the police fired tear gas and stun grenades. It was a scene that I can't describe, said Fahmi Abbas, a worshipper at the mosque. Then they stormed in and started beating everyone. They detained people and put the young men face down on the ground while they continued beating them. End of quote. Video circulating on social media, which newsmen could not independently verify, showed fireworks going off and police beating people inside one of the mosque buildings. Police video showed policemen entering the building while firecrackers exploded in the darkness. French President Emmanuel Macron and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen are set to arrive in China on Wednesday for a 3-day state visit that will see them meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Macron will be accompanied by a delegation of more than 50 CEOs and meet with the French business community, but all eyes will be on how he and von der Leyen discuss the war in Ukraine with the Chinese leadership. China is officially neutral on the war, but has propped up Russia economically and diplomatically in the face of Western sanctions. Xi also has the ear of Russian President Vladimir Putin, with whom he shares a close friendship spanning more than a decade. In March, the duo signed a Sino-Russian strategic partnership during Xi's state visit to Moscow. At the G20 summit in November, Macron called for China to play a greater mediation role in the war, but Beijing has yet to advance its role beyond issuing a 12-point peace plan that has received a lukewarm response in Kiev and Western capitals. Macron's trip is his first to China since the COVID-19 pandemic erupted in early 2020, when Beijing effectively shut its borders to travel. The French leader last visited the country in 2019. Former President Donald Trump was charged on Tuesday with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in a historic case over allegations he orchestrated hush money payments to 2 women before the 2016 US election to suppress publication of their sexual encounters with him. Prosecutors in Manhattan accused Trump, the first sitting of former US president, to face criminal charges of trying to conceal a violation of election laws during a successful 2016 campaign. The frontrunner in the race for the Republican nomination in 2024, Trump responded with answers like yes when the judge asked him if he understood it right. At one point, the judge put his hand to his ear as if to prompt an answer. Prosecutor Chris Conroy said, in quote, the defendant, Donald J. Trump, falsified New York business records in order to conceal an illegal conspiracy to undermine the integrity of the 2016 presidential election and other violations of election laws. While falsifying business records in New York on its own is a misdemeanor punishable by no more than 1 year in prison, it is elevated to a felony punishable by up to 4 years when done to advance or conceal another crime, such as election law violations. The 2 women in the case are adult film actress Stormy Daniels and former Playboy model Karen McDougal. Russia's Commissioner for Children's Rights, who is being sought for war crimes, will brief a controversial United Nations meeting that Russia called to counter what it claims is disinformation about Ukrainian children taken to Russia. Russia's UN mission confirmed on Tuesday that Maria Lvova-Belova will be the lead speaker by video link to an informal meeting of the Security Council that has sparked opposition from Ukraine's supporters. The International Criminal Court (ICC) issued arrest warrants last month for her and President Vladimir Putin over their suspected involvement in the unlawful deportation and transfer of children from occupied areas of Ukraine to Russia. The United Kingdom said it has blocked outside broadcast of the meeting in protest and will not send an ambassador. The US mission said it will not send its ambassador either. Later, the UK mission added in a statement, in quote, if she wants to give an account of her actions, she can do so in The Hague, the Netherlands city where the ICC has its headquarters. The Associated Press reported on Lvova Belova's involvement in the abduction of Ukrainian orphans in October, in the first investigation to follow the abduction process all the way to Russia, relying on dozens of interviews and documents. It found the open efforts to put Ukrainian children up for adoption in Russia was well underway. Ukrainian officials claimed at the time that nearly 8,000 children had been deported to Russia, but the exact number was difficult to determine. Political parties in Liberia on Tuesday signed a peace accord to prevent violence ahead of October presidential and legislative elections. President George Weah said the accord signed by 26 political parties shows the country's commitment to national stability during the polls. The pact obliges signatories and their supporters to uphold peaceful elections and resort to constitutional means if they are dissatisfied with the electoral process and outcomes. Members of observer missions from the African Union, the European Union, and other diplomats witnessed the signing of the accord. The elections are expected to be hotly contested, with the incumbent facing strong challenges from former Vice President Joseph Boakai of the former ruling Unity Party and Alexander Cummings of the collaborating political parties. That is the size of top accolade global news updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy midweek.